Hey guys, what's up? It's Dave back here with another episode of FFBE War of the Visions. In today's episode, I'm going to go over how Spirit and Defense affect the total damage taken by a character. But first, here in the news, the Iron Giant Challenge has been announced for this Wednesday. It's earlier than I hoped it would come. I wanted to try to solo it with Miranda. I'm not sure if I'll get her up in time for the beginning of the event, but I'll definitely try to create a solo video later on. Alright, so today I'm going to be using these two pieces of gear. The first one, as you can see, it's +9 defense there. And the second one right here, +8 spirit with a +3 magic resistance. So we're going to equip those on different units. And we're going to use Orlando as our physical attacker with the defense break. And we're going to use Mediana as our magic attacker with Cosmic Plume, her limit break, with Flare, and with Blizzaga. And we're going to see how much 9 defense actually helps a character and how much 8 spirit is going to help a character with 3 magic resist. Now I did throw Engelbert in there, and he cannot equip this coat, so I use Monty's Trust, which is 8 defense and 8 spirit. So before running the mission, I run the same mission, use the same characters, and I use the same positioning for each verification, because if you know what DOE, etc. is, you have to keep all the variables out and only change one thing in order to get a good result. So that's exactly what I did. Before I go into each mission, I show you what gear is equipped, and I show you who has the piece of equipment on. So we'll take a look at the numbers before and after, then I'll pull up a PowerPoint slide where we can see exactly what percentage it drops for each character. Now, some of the characters have different vision cards on that might make them more vulnerable, etc. But I've discounted that from the equation, and the reason why is because you're not always going to be 100% prepared. So I'm not delving that deep into this. So we're just assuming, you come up against a random team with this unit, a powerful unit attacking you, and roundabout how much damage is it going to reduce. Okay, guys. So maybe I'll go into more depth in the future when I actually get a +5. But I want to give you a huge word of caution here. I had 2 +4s, and I went for the +5, and I got a vital. I was about to pull my hair out because that was probably 5 to 10 hours worth of grinding that was completely wasted on that. And as you see, I have a +4 now, which I had to level back up from level 1 star, and I have 2 +3s. Well, how did it break down to that? Well, I'm waiting for the crafting patch, and without the crafting patch, you get a random +5. But with it, you have to actually have the item you want. So I actually have to have a barrier in order to create that. So when it takes the randomness out with that patch, I'm no longer going to be able to put 2 +4s together and get a new item out of it, or a new roll out of it. I need the barrier first. So I had to break down to a +3 in order to get that barrier. So please don't make the same mistake I did. I was tempted to do it because I wanted to make a video for verification purposes. But you guys should wait. That's my advice to you, because you could get lucky, but it's a 1 in 3 chance. Even though shield's pretty good too, barrier is really the winner here. There's going to be other gear in the future that's going to be equivalent to shield. So I definitely recommend you do that. Please don't waste your resources like I did on a gamble like that. All right. Having said that, let's jump right in, and we're going to do physical attackers first. I'll show you what Orlando has on gear-wise, and then we'll jump right in and see how much damage she actually does before and after. All right, let's take a look. All right, so first we're using a level 99 Orlando. Here's his gear. He's got the +019 evasion hat, no big deal. Ragnarok 135 attack, not fully maxed. We got an Ifrit Esper, 48 out of 51 star, and the Ramza card. And then his Trust, but that doesn't add any attack. So he's got a decent attack. Looks like I forgot to show you the attack stat, but it's about 1900, I believe. And as you can see, the group is stacked towards physical attackers as far as vision cards. So let's go in and take a look at how much damage he does. All right, so Orlando's kind of off by himself. What I'm doing for verification, I'm moving the characters to the same position every time. So he's going right in the middle. He gets all the affinity bonus because I'm skeptical as to whether that adds damage or not. So Miranda there, fatal blow, but only level 65. Catone, not too much. Engelbert, not too much. And Ayaka, barely surviving, but still surviving. Actually, not too bad against physical attackers. And there you have it. So that's without armor, except Engelbert, who has Monty's on. But I do a verification with it off later. So going through again there, it looks like with Hein, but we're not going to be verifying that in the future videos. So yeah, let's take a look at with what it is with armor. All right, and we're now going to test Miranda. I'm going to be putting on the level 4 smart coat with 9 defense. Now the magical attack isn't going to really help there, but let's go in and take a look. Now positioning, I put them in the same spot. Skepticism towards the affinity system, as well as there are back, front, and rear attacks. I've never seen a difference in the damage in any of my verification videos, but Thief, for example, does critical damage guaranteed from back with a certain attack. So again, there is our damage on Miranda. Yes, it has decreased. I will do all the calculations afterwards in a PowerPoint presentation. All right, the next test, I've just swapped it to Catone. She already didn't get one shot by Orlando because she has an elemental strength against lightning, but let's see how much damage it reduces on a unit that does have a weakness or is neutral versus a unit that is strong against it. So ultimately we want to see if defense is straight across the board or if there's other things that skew the results. This will help us gain those results. Okay, so there's Catone's damage 1484. We'll have to compare that later to what it was, and we'll see the difference. All right, and lastly, we've equipped Ayaka with the coat, and we've also taken the trust off of Engelbert, if you noticed. So we'll see, now Engelbert is already strong against physical attacks, so someone who's already strong against physical attacks and has a high defense, does it have diminishing returns? So we'll be able to see all that in the end once we do the calculations. So let's see, we're going to use the Crush Armor again. And I guess I'm skeptical with this game because I've seen skewed things in the past. So I checked all the units each time. So 1499 there on Engelbert and 2654 on Ayaka. So you can see maybe 10% life up from what it was before. So there you have it. Okay, here's part 2. We're going to be using Mediana, level 89. Here's her gear. Again, that hat isn't really going to help because she's going to be taking the higher stat from Yastola's Trust there. I have a 2-star 57 Shiva, very powerful, and the true, the T card for magic. Good luck pronouncing French. 778 right there. Very high magic. All of her skills are level 20 that I'm going to be using, and her limit break is level 5. Getting past level 5 now is darn near impossible without having king pots. All right, so she's going to be moving to the middle. Just for verification purposes, we got to keep it the same to get non-skewed results. We're going to be using Cosmic Plume first, which is pretty much a one-shot on all units except Engelbert, which is strange because Engelbert is the weakest against magic. However, 4,600 hit points is crazy at this point in the game. So again, very strong attack there. I doubt even with the armor, these units are going to be able to survive. Now, Flare, as you see here, it's the strongest attack in the game right now. The damage says max. It's beyond XL. So that's going to be a one-shot on most units. Now, when Miranda gets up and when Ayaka gets... Oh, Ayaka's not in this one. But anyway, when Miranda gets all the way up, she probably won't be one-shot. And then finally here, I have Blizzaga. A lot of damage still, but less one-shots on the units. So that's the verification there. Let's go and test it with armor. All right, next test, we're going in with Orlando there. He's got his coat on, which is +8 spirit and 3 magical resistance. So a little bit stronger than the defense one that we used before. Let's see if he's still one-shot by all three abilities. All right, so there's the Plume, almost a one-shot. Flare, definite one-shot. And Blizzaga, okay, so he's going to survive 2 out of 3 now. So you see just how big of a difference that makes. All right, and finally Miranda here with the same coat. Let's jump in and see. I suspect she won't be one-shot by all 3 since she is innately strong against magic. But she is still level 65, so that's something to keep in mind. All right, so Cosmic Plume here. Okay, one shot but very low damage as compared to Engelbert, etc. Flare, decent damage, but still one shot. And Blizzaga, not a one shot, so she's faring much better than Engelbert and Orlando. All right, and finally we have Yerma here and Engelbert. Engelbert has Monty's Trust on again. It doesn't have the +3 magic resist though, but it still has the 8 spirit. So let's see how they fare against Mediana this time. Alright, so still one shot there. And only 40% on Engelbert. He's got a good deal of hit points despite his weakness. Complete one shot on Yerma there. And Engelbert, ooh, barely surviving that. Blizzaga, complete one shot again. And, oh, looks like only 55%. So not too bad there. Alright, let's first take a look at defense verification. The red column is before equipping the armor, and the blue column is after equipping the armor. First thing you'll notice is there's a pretty big damage difference, even for 9 armor. But looking at the percentage cut, we kind of see a disparity there, ranging from low 7s to mid 9s. Despite what I thought earlier with possible diminishing returns with Engelbert already having a high defense, he's actually the one who benefited the most from it, which is quite surprising. And Ayaka, who's a somewhat squishy unit, got a low percentage from it. Miranda, who already has a decently high defense as well, got more. So it looks like units that were meant to get defense or maybe have like a paladin job maybe get a slightly higher coefficient in the calculation that's done behind the scenes there. Katone got, pretty much the same as Ayaka. She's not super squishy, but kind of squishy, so about the same as Ayaka. But again, interesting results here. Maybe in the future I'll test it with more different units, and I'll test it once I have maybe like an 18 defense armor to see if there's more diminishing returns after that. But again, let's go forward and take a look at Spirit and see how that checked out. All right, and lastly, our Spirit verification. Now, I did find some pretty interesting results from this verification. As you can see in the percent cut, you'll notice right away that Engelbert has only 8%. But keep in mind that we had a +3 on the magic resistance, and he was unable to equip that. So he had the same spirit value of 8, but he didn't have that. So if he had the +3 as well, he would likely be in the same 10% range as the others. Having said that, let's take a look at Yerma. Okay, so Yerma is weak against Frost, Mediana's elemental type. As you can see, she does 10% across the board. So slightly less than the other units, but not significantly less. But one thing I noticed with Yerma, even though I only rounded to the tens place, she got a 10.06% across the board, whereas all of the other units varied slightly in the percent cut. So what does this mean? That probably means that there's other hidden factors that are calculated in there. I'm not sure what they are. Some of the things are explained on some of the JP sites, but they're still very vague, and there are no exact examples given. So hopefully in the future we can get a good data miner in there that'll give us exactly 100% how all of this works for real. But for the time being, this is a good idea of getting that smart coat basically halfway up, or a little bit less than halfway up. You can expect this percent cut. So if you get that up to 21 spirit instead of 8, and I believe it's 8 magic resistance, you're probably going to see around a 20% cut, maybe even a little bit higher. So let's take a look real quick at Flare. It did the most damage on Yerma for 53.98, and that jumped all the way down to 48.55. right off the top of my head, that looks like 550 damage drop just from that. So you're basically cutting off over 1,000 damage from flare by putting a perfect smart coat on a unit like Yerma. So is it still going to be a one shot? Absolutely, it's still going to be a one shot because of that weakness there, and it's just such a strong ability. But it does have a cast time, and units can possibly kill Mediana before that. Also on units like Orlando and whatnot, instead of being one shot, he might survive, be able to counterattack one shot Mediana and still turn the match around for you. So the smart coat is going to play a significant influence in the future, whether you go for the shield version with the 9 defense or the magical version with the 8 magic resistance and the 21 spirit. Alright, so there you have it, guys. That's the defense and spirit verification for today. Once I have made a perfect version of the smart coat in the future after the patch, I'm not going to waste 10 plus hours of my time grinding again only to get a vital or a version that I don't want. So I will do that in the future, as well as a high defense item so we can get better results with higher stats. But as for now, I think that's pretty useful in showing just how powerful armor can be. Don't just go for weapons. Being able to take a hit and still survive is very important. And keep also in mind that not everybody's going to have all their skills maxed out on Mediana or other magical or physical attacker units. They might not have the best weapons, like I did in some of the clips here. So keep that in mind as well. But again, a strong defense is good offense and vice versa. So building up weapons and armor equivalently is going to help your team become stronger across the board and help you in both PvE events and PvP events. It's going to help your guild out as well. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I hope it'll give you insight on how to build up your team in the future. And again, I thank you for watching. If you found it useful, please comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see you again next time on another episode of FFBE War of the Visions. Take care.